So you guys never asked for this, but I mentioned at some point in time that I was practicing F1 racing for a league that I was invited to join and play in. Obviously not real F1 racing, but video game F1 racing, where basically I wanted to join a racing league for a little bit. However, you have to be consistent with your driving, so a lot of practice needs to go into knowing your car, getting a good setup for you. So I spent a lot of my time practicing that, of which I have done. And I prefer the default game mode, because at this point, I don't know any other thing. I don't know why it asks for controls every single time I launch the video game. I just want it to be normal. Anyway, so I've been practicing a lot of F1 racing. I've also been practicing dirt, but we're not going to talk about that. Dirt's rally, for those of you who don't know dirt. But yeah, I have dirt rally too, so I've been doing that too, which probably would be more entertaining at this point. Who knows? But yeah, you guys didn't ask for this, but I figured I'd show you what a day in the life of me looks like when I'm practicing for F1 League. I was going to join this season because they allow like random join-ins and no one's getting paid this season anyway because of the lack of participants. I don't know when the next season's happening. So yeah, I spend most of my time on time trial. I spend a lot of the time with the racing line because apparently that's allowed in this league, which is something I didn't even think was going to be even possible. Because most racing leagues for F1 require that you have no assists on, and that's including the racing line. I only usually have the racing line on for time trials or anything like that because, well, it's so I can hopefully memorize the track racing line, which you can skip, I guess, in most cases, or in some cases, not all most cases, but in some cases you can skip it. But yeah, so I have the racing line to kind of help me memorize when to brake, when not to brake, stuff like that. And I am so slow compared to world record pace. These guys are pretty casual, so I don't think many of them have steering wheels. I think some of them probably do. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know what the requirements are, if you're in a professional league, you need a steering wheel, you need to have no assists on, you need to be driving with a manual gearbox, and you have to be in normal cockpit mode. However, for this league, that kind of all just goes out the window. You can have, most people I've seen just have braking lines on, which fair enough because some of the corners are a little bit weird. Some of the tracks are flat out just corners, so the line is always there anyway. But yeah, so I've watched a couple of people and they seem to have, essentially just the corners on. But I'll probably keep the whole racing line on for the league. No idea if I'm going to record it or not yet. But let's go race in Australia, because why not, right? And you, like I said, you guys have never asked for this, but I want to get back into the gaming channel stuff. So here, you get to see what a day in the life of me looks like when I'm practicing video games. This game, I was addicted for a while. I could not stop playing it, and I kind of calmed down a little bit, just slightly, but at the same time, not at all. So that's kind of where we're at with this. So first things first, I want to load up my custom because I looked up a bunch of like tutorials and things. What's the best way to, and ultimately they all said the same thing was, you really can only set up your car for you. No, like 1,000 things are gonna work for you. But I figured, hey, you know what? I'm just going to try to find a decent-ish setup and then customize it from there. So I have done. So yeah, this is what a day in the life of me looks like, is I spend a lot of my time just driving around a track. I pick a track, and my best is 126. I don't know if that's slow or fast, but I guess we'll find out. It's slow. Good to know. Oh god. Yeah, and then I have to avoid doing that. It's been a while since I've raced in the Australia track. and had to focus. This track is probably the track that I screw up the most on, because there are some corners that I just don't get along with, like this one. Yeah, there are some corners I absolutely do not get along with. 126. The actual way that I could find out if that's slow or not is by looking at the leaderboard, the world leaderboard, and seeing, because usually I'm about 5 seconds off of world record pace, and that's like 5 people hold like pretty much the exact same time or something stupid like that. Basically, it's really hard to keep up. So at least I'm consistent even after not racing this track for a long time. So consistent that I already beat my thing by 1 second, or not even a second, sorry, one millisecond. Always good news. So yeah, I have no idea if I will be recording or streaming the season races. The problem is they happen on like a really weird time for me on Saturdays, which it's not that big of an issue, honestly, but yeah, they happen at a kind of a weird time. So, I mean, ultimately I don't really care. I can push back dinner a little bit and eat later, but I mean, still, it just happens at kind of a rough time for me. For which, like, sometimes it's not even a consistent time. Like, sometimes they have races, like, every Saturday at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever. And then other times it's just like, oh yeah, we have races, you know, like, just randomly. Sometimes they're late and stuff, and then, obviously, there's times when I could just, like, probably ask if anyone's online and wants to race. Because that's a thing they do. So that would be pretty cool. I don't know what Australian Ghost Challenge is, but that sounds interesting. So it was a slow time then. That's what that was. And there's a way I could probably optimize the course a little bit better, but I'm going to pull into the pits and see how slow of a time ultimately we're doing here. But yeah, so this is what I do. I race around in circles and then try to figure out what I can do better, essentially. I've also been playing a lot of Farming Simulator. I know I've uploaded, and I honestly have talked about doing a series on 22 because it's gotten... Or is it 21? Is it 21 or 22? I think it's 22. The new Farming Simulator. I've been talking about doing a series on that because it's gotten better. And by that I mean the modding community has gotten better. The game's fine on its own, but I really like the mods that are coming out now because it's been out for a couple of months now. So there's a couple more maps that you can have that actually work properly, that are not downloaded off of the internet, that don't work properly because they were just like copied and pasted from FS 19 to 22. So yeah, anyway. So I am a lot more than what I thought I was off of world record pace. So we're about 6 seconds off. That's not terrible though. I'm in the top 46% in Australia. Whew, that's great. But yeah, so this is what I do. Like, and then when I feel like I'm done with the track, I just, change over the track. That's it. This is all I do. And then I attempt to get better lap times or whatever. Oh, hey, I got a better first section there. So I probably definitely could do faster. Theoretical best is 125.1 based off of just that information. How are they that slow through there? I mean, you could argue the same for my section 2, section 3. But, like, almost a second behind in section 1, that's... Anyway. There's people that can fly through those sections. I can't do that. I'm not comfortable enough to do that yet. Or I'm not even sure if comfortable is the right word. I don't really know why I'm so slow. I really need to, like, find some people to talk to and be like, hey, do you know why my times are so shit? Because they are. What the hell did... Hold on. Oh, this is a keyboard piece. I don't know how you managed to get on the floor, but okay. It's one of the stands that snapped off from, I think, my old keyboard. I don't think it's even this keyboard that snapped off of. Oh, I've never erased this track. Okay, fair enough. I had to erase Saudi Arabia. There's no fucking way. I fucked that up. Okay, maybe I haven't, because this doesn't look familiar. Never mind, I don't think I have erased Saudi Arabia. This is good, though. It means I get a lot of different variety. And obviously, I do need to learn all of the tracks. Like, I know, I think most of them. I think there's maybe one or two I haven't done yet. This is one of them. I'm pretty sure I've done most, though. Because I need to know the tracks. Otherwise, I'm kind of just fucked. Are we already at the end of the track? No, we've only done section 1, I thought. No, we're at the end of the track, okay. I think. Maybe not. I don't know where we are. Ignore me. I honestly have no fucking clue. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting to the end of the track, I see. That's fine. Yeah, the default ghost in this game just sucks absolute horseshit. It is god-awful. Okay, I wasn't too far off. We were close to the end. So this is a 133 course without me having really known it, so that's fine. We'll improve, most likely. There's very little chance that we won't improve. I'm never perfect on the first lap of a track. In fact, I'm never perfect, but I'm never, like, at my possible best on the first lap of a race. That's just never the case. So much so that I even fucked up and still got a second ahead. Wow. Okay, so this area was pretty fast, and that's good to know. Forgot, don't turn while braking is probably a bad idea. Or don't turn while braking is probably a good idea. I had two different thoughts in my brain, and that was... Okay, so I handled that turn better last time. Those types of turns always screw me over. I never really know where I stand at that point in time. Okay, we're looking a little more consistent. That was a break. So in certain areas, like parts of the track, I am faster now than I was. I don't think it'll be enough to catch up. He says as he catches up. Not too sure what I did super differently. I think I was playing it a little more cautious this time because I was worried about running off the track again. That time I handled that corner much better.
That last lap was a 1 minute 31.8.
I went from 133 to 132 to 131. That's about right. Yeah, so like there is no such thing as no improvement. That's a falsified thing. There's always room for improvement in my case scenario, but also like there's no such thing as just flat out just failing. That's usually I'll improve my times somehow, or I'll find places where it can be improved, like back there, for instance. I'll find places. It's all that really goes about it. So. I really wish I had a steering wheel, though. That would make this 1,000 times better. Oh, God. Or at least I'd be more immersed. Plus, then I could get rid of the gearbox, like the automatic gearbox. Because then I would actually be able to manage the fucking manual. I don't know where the pit is. There it is. Alright, let's see where we're at. We are at 131, they're at 124, so I'm a little less than 10 seconds away. Yeah. Okay. I'm in the top 52% for this track. It's actually kind of good, not gonna lie. Yeah. Well, there's lots of room to improve. Let's do another one. I really
Our best lap so far is at 1:31.8.
Gotcha. I was really almost disappointed because when I read the reviews for this game, people were saying how EA or Codemasters or whoever has made this game feel like it's more for the casual players, which honestly, who really cares? If we can bring more attention to F1, that's fine, but or just racing in general. I'm a racing fan, don't worry about it. So, but like, at the same time, you can modify the settings drastically to be significantly more suited for people who want more of the simulator experience. For instance, when I play career mode, the surface temperature of the track is always varied, the weather is always varied, and the tires have both surface and carcass temperature, which is things I have to monitor. So I've made it so that it feels more like a simulator rather than just a casual experience. Just so happens that everything handles a lot better than I did in, say, let's say F1 2011, or even in 2018, which are both games I played very briefly. I think I played a demo for 2018 because I was debating on whether or not I was going to buy it. And instead I bought this one. Because it was newer and it looked better, so And I don't mean graphics. I mean overall, everything looked better. It looked like it was a lot more sensible and a lot more under control. Because even now, when I went back and played F1 2011, I could not keep that car under control for the life of me. But this car, I mean, I can keep it in control. However, I've been told there's a slight difference, only slight. I've been told there's a slight difference between how the cars handle across consoles, which is kind of weird. So on computer, people say that the cars handle significantly better, whereas on console, if this is the case, you can't trust them ever to stay on the track. And I mean, like, if you get off the track, it's usually your fault. But after my very brief experience with 2011 on the Xbox 360, yeah, I can confirm it's kind of a pain in the ass keeping it on the track, because you're fighting the car every step of the way. Which could just be my lack of setup skills, but I mean, still, it was a nightmare getting that shit taken care of. But this game, like, it may be catered towards the more casual gamer, but you really can set it up to be more of a simulator, to the point where, you know, if you hit a turn, and even racing drivers, like racing pros have complimented this game for its realistic feel, as long as you're in a racing rig, like, but like, it is crazy to me how people's main complaint was like, oh, it's catering to a more casual audience, and it's like, you can still play it with, without it feeling casual. Like, it just so happens that a casual audience may be catered to more, but really, F1 fans shouldn't really be complaining about that, because the more it caters towards people who may not have an interest in F1, you know, maybe they start picking up an interest, or anything like that. And I think, personally, because you can make it a more realistic experience via settings, or if you have a gaming rig, even better, or not a gaming rig, a racing rig, then even better. But still, I mean, it's a complicated thing to come across. But seriously, I have no complaints. Like, I like it. It's... The only thing casual about it for me is the fact that I use a racing line. That's about it. That is the only thing that I have that makes it less realistic. But yeah, actually, I don't even use it that much on career mode. I don't think I do use the racing line on career mode. I use it here because it makes my life easier when racing around the track, but especially tracks I don't know, like Saudi Arabia. But I mean, it is a really, it was kind of sad to see that people were like, oh yeah, I don't like this game because it caters towards some more casual players. And at first, because I didn't know how to change the settings, I was stuck with, like, baby sim, like casual, fully casual race settings. So the steering was just controlled for me, which was absolutely stupid. Like, if I didn't take a turn the way the game wanted me to, it would take the turn for me. Which was just abundantly stupid, especially since some of these turns you're supposed to take the way, not necessarily the way I take them, but, you know, you're supposed to take them in a way that's comfortable to you. And then also, having assisted braking, and by that I mean where it just brakes for you, I don't like that in video games. I like when I can choose when to brake, even if the racing line tells me to brake at a certain point, depending on the turn and depending how I feel about the turn and my speed, I will either brake later or early. That's just, you know, personal preferences that I'd like to have. That, you know, in the casual experience it doesn't give you. So I turned all that shit off, basically. I was just like, yeah, I'm not dealing with it. I still have traction control in ABS, but, like, on their lowest settings, because eventually I'm going to get rid of ABS, and eventually after that I'm going to get rid of traction control. Eventually. I don't know when, but I am going to get rid of them. I did already get rid of them once, but then it was an overload, and then I got scared, and then I went back, so... I'll have to figure it out. I know one of the guys, actually the organizer of the event, is also using assists and currently trying to ease them off as well. So, always good news. I just think it's interesting because of the, obviously I'm not paying attention to the road. I just think it's interesting because I don't think I've ever seen complaints about a game being casual or becoming more appealing to casual audiences. Like, this is still pretty difficult overall, and I mean, you can make it more difficult if you really wanted to. But yeah, like I said, F1, actual, like, real F1 drivers have complimented this game specifically for how realistic it feels when in a actual racing rig PC. And obviously not as much right now, but, you know. I just find it interesting. I'm in the top 42% again. Yeah, so I'm usually about 5 to 6 seconds behind the top players in the world, and that's because, well, one, I'm not a professional racer, so I don't know how to go about it better. Two, my setup might not be fully accustomed to me, or I'm not fully used to it. Either way, I really don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'd have to go probably look at a little bit better, but that being said, out of the 136,000 people that have played it, I'm in the top 42% of that. So, I'm just above average. Just. So that's always fun. But yeah, so this is what I've been doing for the past, I want to say, month or so. I've been really getting back into racing games. I used to love playing racing games like Forza Horizon. Or Forza Motorsport. I used to play those a lot. I used to play Gran Turismo 3 specifically. Not sure how many people know or remember Gran Turismo 3. I was on the PlayStation 2, and I played on my backward compatible PlayStation 3 because the PlayStation 2 died again. So yeah, I love racing games. It's been a while, especially sim racing games. It's been a while since I've been able to really dig in. It used to be, though, I absolutely hated them because I didn't know how to drive. But now that I've not really taken lessons, I've watched tutorials, I've watched interviews with professional drivers on just tips on how to drive better for your certain kind of thing. Because obviously, between every different type of racing or driving style, there's differences. So in dirt, for instance, you need to kind of know how to use the handbrake and for what turns you need the handbrake, stuff like that. So you need to know when to drift or not to drift. If you can drift it without using the handbrake because it's slightly faster, or all of those things. And then with Formula One, there's a ton of tips and tricks that you need to kind of learn, like a backslide in a turn to make it so you can exit faster, or braking on the straight, and then as soon as you hit the apex of a turn, you floor it, or not floor it, but you gradually go forward, stuff like that. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that you have to learn or kind of understand and practice, obviously, in order to get to that point. And I'm still on the practicing bit. But from what I've seen, I'm pretty on par with the other drivers that are part of the league. I've just been practicing because I don't yet know all of the tracks. Plus, there's a very specific track that I absolutely hate, and that's Monaco. Not because it's a bad track, just because it's absolutely absurd. It's really difficult to drive around, and that's fine. I just really can't do it. Yeah, my theoretical best would be 130.755, so that wouldn't even beat my rival. No. How about just advance? But yeah, so that's what I've been doing in the past month or so. I've been doing a lot of F1 racing, kind of just driving around. It was at first just to kind of clear my mind, because it's kind of a good thing for that if you're just sitting down and focusing. And then I was streaming it one day, and then a guy came in and was like, "Hey, you want to join a league?" And I was like, "I don't think I really qualify for a league." And they're like, "We don't have any qualifications." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll join a league." And they invited me to their Discord group thing that they have, and yeah, and then I found out they pay, and I was like, uh-oh. I was like, so I gotta learn how to drive better so that people are entertained, even if I don't get any money. But that's just kind of the way I roll, so. I have mail. What is my mail? Oh, they're just basically... Oh, right. Yeah, so I participate in weekly events on the occasion, and I just got a trophy and some XP for that. Nice. Patch 1.6 is out on all platforms. Just an issue where rejoining qualifying. Okay, so they just kind of... Okay, well, delete that. Yeah, so anyway, it's been a fun time. I've really enjoyed this game. I've really enjoyed the group around it. The community, surprisingly, for F1, other than the many negative reviews, it's not majority. Majority of people seem to really like the game, but like the amount of negative reviews when I was looking into it was kind of disheartening, but I'm here now, so it must be okay. But yeah, so it was just kind of a fun little thing for me. But I'm here now, so anyway. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you want to see more racing content, let me know. I can play dirt real well. Well, not real well. I can play dirt okay, and I can play F1 sort of. So, that being said, I'm going to call it a day for now. Welcome back to the gaming thing. Also, I don't really know what to do for Shooter Reacts, because I've watched too many YouTube videos, because I have nothing else to do with my time. That's not even a joke. I have nothing else to do with my time. My time is well spent on video games, making video games, coming up with new ideas for the video game, and then also racing. So I'm all over the place. And also school, but we don't mention that. I finish a lot of that stuff very quickly. For instance, today, I finished, I think, 2 or 3 math assignments in like less than an hour. So, yeah. I'm a quick worker, is what I'm trying to bring across here. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.